Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining our concurrent session today. My name is Justin Chu, and I'm the Senior Program Associate with the Field Engagement Team here at Prosperity Now. I extend to you my sincere hope that you're enjoying and having a great time at the first ever Virtual Prosperity Summit. We're here to talk a lot about virtual/alternative service delivery, so we can get right into it. And for this, I'm going to turn it over to Julie Hodgson from the City Foundation. Julie?
Great. Thank you, Justin, and thank you everyone for joining us for today's session. I'm Julie Hodson, a program officer at the City Foundation, and it's great to be with you. We're delighted that Prosperity Now is facilitating this conversation on how VITA sites across the country are leveraging partnerships and utilizing technology to scale free tax prep services for low-income families. Connecting families to these vital tax prep services has become even more of an urgent priority as communities across the country face challenges brought on by COVID-19. According to the Tax Opportunity Network, by the end of March, nearly 90% of VITA sites in the United States had to close their doors. Now, not only was this at the height of tax season, but it was also at a time when low-income workers were struggling due to the economic impacts of COVID-19 and could benefit greatly from flexible cash support, which tax credits, such as the Earned Income Tax Credit and the stimulus payment, which relied on information in filed tax returns, could provide. So that's why, as part of our COVID-19 economic recovery efforts, the City Foundation invested $2.5 million to support Code for America and Prosperity Now and the work that they're doing to accelerate the rollout of virtual VITA programs across the United States. By supporting VITA sites as they pivoted to digital platforms, we were able to ensure that thousands of low-income families filed their taxes this year and received these crucial tax benefits. And so we're really excited to hear from all of today's panelists about the innovative ways they are connecting low-income families to free tax services. And we're also really looking forward to hearing about the lessons learned, so that we can continue to refine these services and help more low-income families claim their tax credits in the future. So with that, I'll turn it back over to Justin to get started with today's conversation. Back to you, Justin.
Great. Thank you so much, Julie. And we're delighted to have City Foundation on board here supporting Prosperity Now in this session in particular. Before we get to our speakers, I want to take a few moments to share sort of the structure of today's conversation. We'll have 4 speakers sharing 3 different ways in which they've provided alternative service delivery throughout this very, very difficult filing season. Even though there are 3 different approaches, they sort of exist on a continuum that you can see. In this way, as you can see on screen now, there is quite a bit of variety between it, and there's a lot of just things that you would expect. And all programs are a little bit different, and so we're here to help get that conversation started. So we know all this can be really, really daunting, but our expert panel is here to help. In addition, we also have this great worksheet that is currently attached within the documents folder, which will help you go through your presentation, share a little bit about what facets of your program can be fixed in the alternative service delivery method, and think about some of the tools in analyzing it. So, like I said, we have a great panel. First, we'll hear from Phyllis Fickling from United Way of the Mid-South, then Christopher Murphy at the Louisville Asset Building Coalition, and then finally, we have a bit of a twofer with Graham O'Neill from the Campaign for Working Families and Kelly McBride with Code for America to share a little bit about the GetYourRefund.org program. So let's dive on in, and we'll turn the floor over to Phyllis.
Thank you, Justin. Thank you very much. What I wanted to do is share with you what United Way of the Mid-South did to adapt to COVID-19 pandemic for our VITA program. The stay-at-home ordinance came while we were in the peak of our tax preparation season, which was February and March. Because we serve over 10,000 families, we had reached only half of them, and we needed to make sure that everyone had access to this service. So we called together our site coordinators. We pitched the idea of this drive-through, thinking in terms of Chick-fil-A, this drive-through drop-off model. and with social distancing, and they were pretty receptive to it after we got buy-in from them because it was new and it was a change for them. And we have people who have worked for over 20 years in a traditional model. So once we did that, and with a few tweaks, the IRS approved it and applauded us for the quick reaction and implementation of this program because we only had downtime of about 2 days to regroup and get this up and running. Um, we normally operate about 24 sites. We consolidated all of those sites into one alternative model of service delivery at our headquarters. We set up some stations. This is what we did. We set up stations of greeters, intake, and screening outside so that the customers did not have to get out of their cars, and we served them from the passenger side to put distancing between us and, to implement the social distancing. We provided all of the PPE for all of the staff, anyone coming in and out of our building, as well as the volunteers, and also any customers who came up who did not have masks or gloves. We provided those as well. On the inside, we had what we called a processing center. In the processing center, we had tax preparation and quality review, where we labeled several stations with the status of each one of the returns so that anyone could just pick a stack and process those returns from wherever they were in the process. Also during this time, the stimulus payments came out, so we added a stimulus hotline and an operator center to provide information about the stimulus check, tax returns if they needed to, and to take all calls and questions regarding any other tax concerns they might have. And we actually ended up getting quite a few calls with that and making sure that people received their stimulus check. We later opened one of our rural sites because we did not want to just open up everything because we didn't know how this would work. But after proof that it would work, and we allowed our rural stations to open up, and it opened up as a walk-up drop-off, and we had to show that they had the 6 feet distancing marked off, and also just how that would look. But we still had to get IRS approval, and that worked out fine. With everything, we're actually going to go into our 2021 season with with the processes that we use with this. What we learned is that we have to be adaptive because things changed every day. This adaptive model, again, will be used to set up and open up 5 of our super sites as we go into 2021. There are still a lot of elderly, rural, and low to moderate income individuals who do not have access to technology, so we wanted to make sure that they were served as well. We also learned that there has to be continuous communication with the volunteers and the site staff. Continuous communication with our spec officers at IRS as well. We also did daily briefings with everyone who was in the building because things were changing. We also provided any information on census, unemployment, where the food banks were, any information that people needed at that time, because at that time a lot of things were shut down and people just didn't know where to get their basic needs. The next thing we did is that we listened to the concerns of our staff and volunteers in real time. And most of all, we acted on them because we wanted them to know that we were still partners in this process and we were learning as we go. As they say, we were building the plane as we were flying it. So we ended up really having a good year. Our results for this is over 10,000 returns were still processed. More than 30% of them were done during the COVID-19 period, including prior year and paper returns. Over $2.6 million in EITC was prepared, and approximately $14 million in refunds were prepared. Most of all, no one fell ill to COVID-19 during the whole period from March to July. of all the volunteers and staff that we had. So that was really, really a blessing to us. And I think that that's all that we have on this one. And I just want to thank you again for inviting me to share what we did in Memphis, Tennessee at United Way of the Mid-South. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Phyllis, for sharing all that information. It's great to hear that obviously no one felt sick, no one was ill from COVID-19. Those are always great things to hear, and really going above and beyond to help provide the quality services you expect at VITA. And next, like I said, I'm going to kick it over to Christopher Murphy from the Louisville Asset Building Coalition to talk a little bit about his program. Christopher?
Hi, my name is Christopher Murphy, and I am the Program Director with the Louisville Asset Building Coalition. And we had a little bit of a hybrid model where we did have drop-off preparation services, but we also had virtual tax preparation sort of integrated into that based off the needs of our clients and then also the needs of our VITA site partners. And so I'll talk a little bit about our response and then just some considerations you should keep in mind as you're planning for this upcoming filing season. So for our COVID-19 response, we originally had a fully virtual delivery service. However, many clients just did not have access to technology to actually upload their documents, and they didn't necessarily feel comfortable uploading their documents online. So we worked with our site partners in June, and 4 of them agreed to serve as a drop-off site. However, a lot of those sites were still physically closed, or they were limiting the amount of clients that could come into the building. So we had to adopt our preparation process as well. And as a result, a lot of the preparation process was conducted remotely via phone or via email. And I'll talk a little bit more about that throughout this presentation. But just some things that you should consider as you have a remote preparation process. First, you want to keep in mind space. So what's the physical space look like that you can actually host this sort of hybrid model? What's your capacity? How many people can you plan to serve? What technology do you have access to actually serve these clients as efficiently as possible and, increase your capacity? And then what unexpected factors that you can possibly expect? As VITA service providers, we know that anything can happen at any given moment, and so we're always prepared for that. I'll talk a little bit about space first. So the first thing to consider is how many sites will you offer drop-off services at? Generally, it takes a lot more effort to sort of gather all the documents that you need for your clients. Make sure that you're, collecting everyone's documents and, accurately recording, who dropped off your documents, which day, did you get them back to them? So just kind of keep in mind, you don't want to have too many sites open for drop-off services, and you may need to reduce the amount of space that you have. And then how accessible are these sites for your clients? At some of our sites, we had drop-off sort of drop boxes at the back of the building. And so when we were marketing, these sites are open, we had to communicate, okay, you won't go to the front of the building where you normally go. You'll actually go to the back, place your documents into the locked drop box. So just also keep in mind, how our clients actually going to be able to physically drop off their documents. And then how will clients interact with volunteers at a given location? You may need to modify the intake and quality review process based off the actual physical space where your volunteers are located. And so that's just something to keep in mind as you prepare. The other thing to keep in mind is your capacity. So how many staff and volunteers will you be able to serve in person physically at the site? And then also how many will be able to serve remotely? That's something that we realized very quickly. A lot of volunteers were willing to continue serving with us throughout the pandemic, but they didn't feel comfortable actually going to our physical sites. So we had to figure out a way of, okay, we still need people staffed at these locations to pick up the documents and kind of do that initial intake for the clients. But also, how can we loop in these volunteers that are able to serve remotely? And that's something that you could think about as we look into technology on the next slide. Maybe you have scanners, or maybe you use another program like Get Your Refund, where you can upload documents for the clients. But just something else to consider, that you can also loop in volunteers remotely as well. Another thing is, how many drop-off returns can your full amount of volunteers process in a given day? Towards the end of the filing season, we saw a huge increase in demand for our services. We had about 40 to 50 individuals dropping off their documents at a tax site, and it almost became unmanageable. We were able to get through everyone, but you also want to think about how can you limit the number of returns that are dropped off at a given site. And then also, in regards to that, when can the client expect to have the return completed. It could be a day or two. It could also be, could it be a week? You just want to make sure to make those expectations clear to the client ahead of time. For technology, again, as we're mentioning, this can help you a lot in terms of capacity. So, do you have scanners available? Are there alternative programs that are available as well, in which you can upload the documents to help make that interface a little bit easier for both you and the clients? But then also think about the technology that you have access to and how will it aid the drop-off process, and then how will you train your volunteers and your staff on this new technology? So that's just something to keep in mind. And then also, what sort of technology do your clients have access to? So for a lot of our clients, we had to conduct the intake and the quality review process over the phone. That was generally just because they didn't have access to email addresses to where we could email a copy of the return to the client or have them complete an online intake form. But also you may think of, if your clients do have access to email, how will you send those tax documents over securely? So just little things that you may want to keep track of. And then the final thing is just any unexpected factors that you can kind of know that you're going to be able to expect. So there were several times where we had clients that we were unable to reach after they dropped off their documents. And you may just let clients know ahead of time, we will be contacting you within 24 to 48 hours at the phone number that you put on your intake form. So just make sure that they know ahead of time that this is when they're going to pick up their documents. And then if a site needs to close, if it's for health and safety reasons or maybe for weather-related reasons, in the winter during tax season, how will you communicate that to the client? And then what are sort of your backup plans for that? So these are just a few things that you may want to keep in mind. Again, space, capacity, technology, and then any unexpected factors, just as you get ready to prepare for this upcoming filing season.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Christopher, for sharing. That's really another one of the really creative ways that VITA programs really came through this filing season and sort of pivoted and built out models and then had to sort of remove them on the fly. And now we're going to kick it over to sort of the last one of our speakers, and this is a really high touch, really technology heavy based product. And so I'm excited to have Graham O'Neill again with the Campaign for Working Families and Kelly McBride from Code for America. So I'll kick it over to you two.
Hey everybody, great to be here. So my name is Kelly McBride. I'm a Senior Product Manager at Code for America, and in a bit I'll introduce Graham, Director of Partnerships at Campaign for Working Families. So today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about getyourrefund.org, a way to do tax prep virtually. Today I'll just do a quick review of who Code for America is, what we do, and then I'll talk about our digital pilot from the user perspective, and then I'll hand it over to Graham to talk about what it's like to partner and work with Get Your Refund. Quick slide about Code for America. We're a nonprofit that partners with governments to strengthen the delivery with government partners to help deliver government services through the use of technology. And we do that through human-centered design. So we really take a client-first approach when designing our systems, and we do a lot of iterating. So we are often listening to clients and learning from partners about how we can make our service better and constantly improving it. And going back to sort of where we started with Get Your Refund is we actually started doing workforce development research at Code for America and did research around the earned income tax credit. This is Trish, a client that we spoke to in Colorado, who we actually worked with to help let her know about the EITC and file her taxes and a lot of back taxes to get a refund. And through our research, we found that, the EITC that I'm sure a lot of you guys know about, all the great research behind the EITC, there's an incredibly effective cash support, but a lot of folks aren't claiming it. And we at Code for America set out to figure out, well, why aren't people claiming it if it's such an effective cash support? We want to get people like Trish money that can be put into their business, into their lives, into their family. And so through that research, we found that folks aren't claiming because tax filing is hard. People really need free and trustworthy tax prep. They need something clarifying, people to answer their questions, something that's thorough and assesses all the situations that might arise in someone's life, and that it's accessible whenever and wherever. And that led us to collaborating with VITA. We know that VITA, we set out to see how could we help VITA expand and keep what makes VITA great. We know VITA already delivers this great service, and we just want to help more people access it. So that led us to building getyourrefund.org to make VITA accessible online to anyone, anywhere they are. We actually started before COVID-19 hit, and then obviously the services were a lot more in demand after, virtual services were really the only option, or one of the few options. And so we knew we needed to sort of scale up service offerings too, like a couple other folks have mentioned, like one size does not fit all. So we wanted to make sure that we had a couple different ways that someone could be served and access these services online. So a few things that we offer is a VITA location finder, so you can search for a site near you and see those that are open. We offer valet VITA, so that's a way to facilitate drop-off in person that's distanced, but then all the tax prep can be done remotely. What we'll talk about today is digital intake, where the entire process is remote. We do also have a DIY with help option where we provide a free link for tax prep and then provide chat support for questions. And then service routing is a really important one for us to make sure that folks get to the service that's right for them based on their needs. So talking about getyourrefund.org, full service digital VITA, it really mirrors the process of traditional VITA. It's just brought online. So a client will answer questions on getyourrefund.org that mirrors the 13614C, populates the 13614C. Based on what they provide us, we ask them to upload identification documents and documents about their tax situation. And we do so, the client can do this either on their mobile phone or on a computer, so they can scan or snap a photo. And they do this through our secure upload. So it gets sent to a VITA site and routed to the site for them based on location or a unique URL that they use. And then they'll have a phone call with the VITA site. We have intake specialists at the site who will triage the case. We'll see if more information is needed. We'll still have that phone call with the client both before and after tax prep, because we know that that's what's important about VITA and what is the really huge value add for clients, being able to talk to someone, get their situation clarified, and really feel like they can trust the service. And then, of course, we get all the consent forms. We send that out for signature, and then the tax return is transmitted, still using the VITA Sites technology. So if you use TaxSlayer, you would still use TaxSlayer. And we are also looking for new partners. We love partnering with VITA Sites. Going back to that user-centered design slide, like we could not have built Get Your Refund without the partnership of our VITA partners. We really built this in concert with VITA and learning about the process and what works well from you guys, and would love to partner with you more. So we're definitely looking for folks who are interested in reaching new clients in the EITC participation gap. That's why we built Get Your Refund and want to help bring new clients to your site so you can help serve more folks. We want people to be able to, prepare a lot of returns, are willing to experiment. As I mentioned, we're always trying new things. We're learning from what we're doing and adjusting to help us serve people better. We ask that everyone dedicates at least 10 staff to working with us, and they're interested in collaborating with us beyond social distancing measures. So past the COVID-19, we'd love to continue working with sites. So just some really quick initial results. We're seeing some great results. One, clients really loved the service, and it's a really stressful time, and they enjoyed talking to a real human being about their situation, and it helps relieve that stress. As you guys know, your personal touch and VITA touch is really important, and people call that out, that it's a great part of Get Your Refund. We've been scaling really quickly. We have a lot of site visitors coming to the site and not just filing their taxes, but learning about their EAP, interacting with our client support team. We've filed almost 12,000 returns through our different service offerings, and we estimate that's around 35 million delivered. And we couldn't do that without our VITA partners who help actually make it possible. We're also helping VITA reach new clients. We have a lot of sites who are filing returns for clients who are asking for help with prior years, folks who have learned about Get Your Refund from something other than a VITA site. A lot of people are getting referred from family or friends. And then a lot of folks, or a good portion of folks, coming to us with something other than filing. They have a question, they want advice, and through talking to someone, we realized you should actually file. We have partners all across the country and would love to have partners in every state, but we can prepare returns for every state. We have some partners preparing returns in various states. And just want to leave you guys with this quote from one of our partners, that they love sharing a high quality product with clients that works well, is easy to navigate, and is fun to look at. We really strive to provide clients with a user-friendly platform that can help sort of meet them where they are and get their taxes filed. So now I'll turn it over to Graham, who's going to speak a little bit about the experience partnering with Get Your Refund.
Hi, everyone. This is Graham O'Neill. I'm with Campaign for Working Families, and we're based in Philadelphia and southern New Jersey, where we normally have about 39 different tax sites. And both the clients and the staff at Campaign for Working Families could not have been happier with our experience with Get Your Refund. Not only, as you can see, is it a beautifully designed and well thought out application, but working with the staff at Code for America has been absolutely amazing. They made our onboarding process very, very seamless. They were always they were available for all of our questions, and they provided training materials in such a timely manner that we were able to set up virtual trainings very quickly, and that within 2 weeks of hearing about Get Your Refund, we were seeing our first virtual client. We made the decision to shut down our sites on March 14th. 24th, we were seeing clients virtually for the first time, and this is not something we had planned to do at the start of this season, so it was really amazing. As you can see on this slide here, we were able to incorporate Get Your Refund into our existing outreach materials so that clients would understand that Campaign is still the organization that is helping them along every step of the way. And this was really important, and was really one of the great things about the partnership is that Code for America was willing to work with us and let us, put our own personal touch onto this product so that it didn't feel like something that was new to the client, so they still understood that we were there to help them out. As you can see here, this is one of our volunteers, Mike. At the beginning part of the season, we were able to take some of the equipment that we had from our sites and then repurpose it, but we found that it really wasn't ideal. And so through the help of Code for America and the City Foundation, we've been able to get all of our volunteers the technology they need to actually serve from home comfortably and efficiently as possible. I think this is really important to think out when you are setting up a virtual service. People don't just need a laptop and they're good to go. We've found that they need a laptop. Usually a Chromebook is working best for us. An external monitor really, really helps not only them work more efficiently, but our volunteers be happier with the experience they're having volunteering because they're able to work more efficiently. We also found that a headset is nice to have, as through Get Your Refund, you're able to actually call clients through the program, so we can have those two, the intake interview and the quality control call right there in Get Your Refund. And we find all these things together make up a good experience. And just also want to give out a shout out to Mike O, who's volunteered over 400 hours since the end of March, helping our clients. And then just having not started the tax filing season with any plans for a virtual service, we could not be happier with the results we've seen so far. We've filed about 566 returns. We've trained 19 of our volunteers and had them serving at home at least one shift a week. And we've secured for our clients over $690,000 in both federal and state refunds. And something that we weren't thinking about when we started this program is how many new clients we're able to access. With most of the clients that we're serving through Get Your Refund, as you can see, 348 of them have been new clients that are completely new to Campaign. And this is has to do with the fact that we're able to not only see people in the Philadelphia area and South Jersey, we're serving clients from all over the state of both Pennsylvania and New Jersey. And we've also been able to secure about $110,000 in new funding because we have this new Get Your Refund virtual service we're able to offer. And we're actually working past the July 15th deadline all the way up to October 15th this year, helping clients both file their taxes, but also doing some statewide outreach to help clients file their EIP or stimulus check returns. And Code for America has been really great in recognizing that, while these are tax returns and the process is very, very similar, it can also be streamlined to a great degree. And so we're actively working with them right now to make the process even easier for our clients so they can get those stimulus checks when they're filing. And other than that, I just wanted to say thank you, both me and Kelly, Code for America and Campaign for Working Families. Thank you for hearing a little bit about what we're doing. And so now we'll turn it back over to Justin.
All right. Thank you, Graham and Kelly, for really sharing that product. I know that Get Your Refund has been such a great tool for so many of our partners and so many of the people that we know in the VITA field. But we really want to take this time now to turn it over to you. We've talked a lot, and I'm sure everyone's sick and tired of my voice. So we really want to hear a little bit from you. Keep in mind, I think the one common theme for all this is that this stuff isn't going to be a one-off. This isn't just, because of COVID. This is going to be because of a lot of other things that you're going to need to incorporate in your own program. So feel free to take that worksheet and then take your time throughout this. And we really want to hear a lot from you. So I think that's it from us. And we're going to turn over to you. Be sure to answer your questions in the chat box.